welcome back to another episode of the Kate Hamilton Health Podcast. So today's episode might be a little different because I'm actually multitasking at the minute and I'm holding my little 2-month-old nephew Noah here as we speak. So you might be able to hear him if he makes any noise throughout the podcast. I was going to wait. And then I was like, no, do you know what? We're chilling. He likes when I'm talking. I'm going to record a podcast. I'm going to chat through all things meal prep with you today. And just if you hear little noises in the background, that's what's going on. Most people listening here are parents or aunties or uncles. You get it. We might as well just multitask and get it done. So let's get into it. Meal prep. Okay. I want to talk through kind of some points around this topic. The first thing that I will say about this is you don't have to meal prep. Okay. So I think some people think that just, because you want to lose weight or you want to get healthier or fitter, you have to meal prep and you have to spend all this time preparing meals and getting all your Tupperware ready. You don't. Okay. You don't have to meal prep. I don't. They have to cook for the family every day anyway. It doesn't make sense, like, for me to be cooking loads of separate meals for me. I also don't like my kids to see me eat separate meals to the family. I think it's kind of important that we all eat the same healthy, tasty dinners together. So I don't meal prep. Now, I know someone who perhaps doesn't have kids or there's only a couple of them in the house. It makes sense to meal prep. So it very much does depend on the person. I'm not anti-meal prep at all. I'm pro-organization and like meal prep is the height of organization, but I just mean there's like many different ways to skin a cat. So what I tend to do, there's 5 of us in my house. Most recipes are for 6 or like for 4 or 6. So I'll either make double the recipe and make it for 8 or I'll do a recipe for 6 people. So I make one extra portion. I'll cook it. Usually it'll be a recipe for 6. I will cook the dinner. I will dish it up in 6 even portions. One portion will be for me for my dinner. The other portion will be put aside for my lunch the next day. And then the other portions, I might add a little bit more onto the plates, like for the husband and the teenager and a little bit less for the smaller kids. And, like I'll divvy it out whatever way it needs to be divvied out for the others. But I will have had exactly 1/6 of that recipe for my dinner that day. And then there's a spare portion, which can go into the freezer for another day when I don't have time, or I can have it for like leftover dinner. Makes such an excellent lunch. And yes, you should be spending those kind of calories on lunch. If you have a good, decent meal at lunchtime, it's going to help prevent all of that snacking and, the uncontrollable eating at the end of the day. So it's like, don't be afraid to spend your calories. There's also nothing wrong with having the likes of salads or sandwiches for lunch. Just make sure that you have at least 100 grams of a protein source with it. Don't forget your vegetables as well. So like when I say 100 grams of protein source, having at least 100 grams of chicken. So sometimes we have people make a chicken sandwich with a few tiny bits of chicken in it. It's like, no, most packets of chicken are 100 grams. You need the whole packet. Okay. So you do make sure you're getting enough protein into your sandwiches or your lunch or whatever, your salads or whatever it is that you're making. Okay. Don't scrimp on protein. It's so important. That's how it's going to make it your lunch actually filling. And vegetables. So if you're having a salad, that's a given. Put your salad into your sandwiches if you like. Or I don't really like to have loads of like lettuce and tomato and onion and all in my sandwich. I don't know, falls out and annoys me and stuff. So if I was having like a chicken and cheese toasty or something like that, or I was having like scrambled eggs on toast or something like that for lunch, I just chop my vegetables on the side. I have some chopped cucumbers, sometimes some chopped carrots, chopped cherry tomatoes. And I'll just eat them while I'm preparing the main event of lunch. And so I'm still getting my vegetables in, but it doesn't have to actually be in the lunch. It can be like alongside it. But just those things are really, really important for, filling you up. So with like little hacks, okay, so if you do over time build up that extra meal each time and you're freezing, you're like portions of curry, portions of bolognese and everything in your freezer, that's so handy for days that you don't have time to cook or you just don't want to cook. Now, also there's times where there'll be times where you don't have time to cook or you don't want to cook and you don't have anything left over in the freezer that you've prepared. The best thing you can do here is buy one of those fit meals. So my favorite ones are well fed. So well fed are like, really good ingredients. You can buy, I'm not sure exactly what shops you can buy well fed in, but you can buy them on their website as well. If you just Google well fed meals, they'll come up. They're an Irish company. And then there's Pure Power Nutrition. They're in most supermarkets, Tesco, Centra, wherever, and there's loads of other brands as well. They're just the ones that I tend to use. It's always handy to have one of them kept in your fridge every week. Like I'll always buy one every week that goes into the fridge. If I don't end up eating it, the husband or the teenager will eat it by the end of the week anyway. It just means that if I lose time and I don't have time to cook something, I can throw something frozen on for the kids, whatever. Or if people in the house are getting a takeaway and I just don't want to take away because I don't want to feel like shit, I have one of those there And it's just going to help getting a healthy, balanced meal in a really quick way. So I just find that's a really handy hack. So you can always have a few of them in the freezer, and just once you use one, take another one out and just keep it in the fridge for a few days. Lifesaver. And they make a lovely lunch. Like, I wouldn't be eating those pre-packed meals every day, because it's a little bit of processing in them. Now, not a whole lot, particularly in the well-fed ones, but you do want to be cooking your own lunches as well. They can, once or twice a week, be really, really handy. Some more little meal prep hacks that I use. I don't like this, like, people will be listening to this and okay, that's not even meal prep. This is my version of meal prep. These are all the tips that I do instead of spending all day Sunday preparing loads of meals. Omelets or egg muffins, right? They are a handy lunch, and they actually reheat quite nicely. So if you're on the go, you can put it in a lunch box and bring it with you. They can be eaten cold. Great way to get protein and vegetables in, if you like, but it depends on what you throw into it, obviously. I also would recommend that you cook some chicken, and always have a lunch box of cooked chicken in your fridge ready to go. It's the handiest little hack. It can go into a salad. It can go into a sandwich, whatever. But if you don't have time or you run out, you can always buy deli style chicken from the supermarket. Like, if you buy a good quality one, it's not full of loads of shit. Like, it's mostly chicken. There are some preservatives in it, obviously, to give it a little bit of a shelf life. But in general, they're going to be good quality. Don't be afraid to have a little bit of pre-packed deli style chicken from the supermarket. My favorite one is the Carol's honey and chili chicken. Oh my God, they're so good. So good. I literally what I would do is get 2 slices of bread, throw the whole packet of the honey and chili chicken pieces onto the bread or into a wrap or whatever, and a slice of low cheese thrown in, and I just put on the George Foreman, and the cheese melts into the chicken. And you don't need mayo or butter or anything, because there's a really nice marinade on the chicken, and it makes the nicest sandwich, the nicest wrap. It's just such a nice lunch. And then I just have my chopped vegetables on the side. So I think sometimes we overcomplicate things with meal prep. I know we have to have all these fancy meals at lunchtime, and I'm like there's nothing wrong with a sandwich with enough protein in it, or an omelette or an egg muffins or whatever, or scrambled eggs on toast or whatever, and just have your chopped vegetables on the side if you don't like it in it. I'm always like, be the grown up, get your vegetables in one way or another. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't feel like chomping on this cucumber right now. I'm like, oh, just get it into you while you're making it. You do feel better for it. So let's talk about it. If you do want to meal prep, find what works in your routine. Okay. Don't make it another chore on your list. We're all busy. Making changes is stressful enough. We don't need to make it more stressful. So just find a way that it works for you. Like, for example, if I'm prepping breakfast or lunch, I'll do it at the same time as when I'm cooking dinner. So multitasking. I'm not actually cooking dinners to batch cook or anything like that. If I'm going somewhere the next day and I'm preparing my breakfast and lunch, I'll do it at dinner time when I'm at the kitchen anyway, and I'm kind of waiting for things to simmer and cook, and get my breakfast sorted and my lunch sorted while I'm cooking the dinner. It's just to be kind of forward thinking enough to remember to do that, so you're not adding a whole other task into your day. Or if you have set aside separate time to meal prep, maybe Sunday afternoon or something like that, cook 2 dinners at once. So for example, do chili and bolognese. Okay. So it's the same ingredients. You're still going to be putting oil in the pan. You're going to be putting some onions and garlic and the beef mince is going to go in there. And you're going to be adding whatever vegetables you're adding. And the only time it gets different is with the herbs, the spices, and any sauces you're putting in. And that's when you can separate them. So I just think it's a much easier way. And so then all of a sudden you've cooked 2 dinners. And if the recipe's for 4, you've just got 8. You've just made 8 portions for yourself, all in one go, and it need only take about an hour. So that would be my tip. And I say that I don't do that very often because it just doesn't make sense when I'm cooking dinner every day anyway. When it comes to breakfast, breakfast is one that you don't, especially if you're busy and you're trying to get out the door in the morning, you're trying to get kids out the door in the morning, and everyone's trying to get out the door. You don't want to overcomplicate it. Now, if you're having an easy weekend or mornings are slow enough, you have loads of time and you want to prepare eggs and avocado and, make all these wonderful omelets and you want to do all that, that's great. But for me, the mornings are busy. I've got to get everyone out the door. It's not easy. So I would always do something that it'll always be overnight oats, overnight Weetabix or protein Weetabix as I call it, protein smoothie. And I've shared these recipes on my page before. They're so simple. And they're like, even if you Google them, there's loads of different recipes available on the internet anyway, in relation to overnight oats. And, you know, if you put in protein Weetabix cheesecake, it'll give you recipes for it. It's basically where you mix the Weetabix with protein powder in the base, and you put in seeds or it's protein powder, Weetabix, and a little bit of milk or water, and you kind of make like a cheesecake base with it, and then you put some Greek yogurt on top, some fruit. Delicious. Protein smoothie, like, you know, I'd always put some protein powder in there, some Greek yogurt, and then whatever fruit you like, maybe a little bit of water, seeds, that kind of thing. And they're really handy. Overnight oats, the Weetabix cheesecake, you can actually prepare the night before if you're up and out the door. A protein smoothie, you can have it all prepared. Just don't blend it until that morning, because it'll be rotten if you blend it like too long before you actually eat it. So like overnight oats, obviously you can do the night before. The Weetabix you can do the night before. And it's great. Then you don't have to think about breakfast. Just take it out of the fridge and you go. Or if you do have time and you want to have a breakfast on the go, the smoothie can be handy. Make up your smoothie in the morning, take it in the car with you. And like you can put like, you know, like in my protein smoothie, like I said, I would have berries. I would have protein powder, Greek yogurt. I actually put my creatine in it as well. And I put some chia seeds in there. And I have banana, Greek yogurt. And I did say protein powder, didn't I? Blend it all together, and it's like a proper kind of yogurty kind of breakfast, but you can drink it, and it's really filling. So like a lot of people are kind of like, oh, smoothie, I don't think I'd like to drink my breakfast. You'd be surprised. Like, it's definitely worth giving it a go. I always think keeping breakfast as simple as possible. If you really do like to have toast for breakfast, just make sure you're having like some sliced egg with it or something, so that you're getting a source of protein first thing in the day. It's so important. Okay, other little hacks, okay, that I think help, like, you know, air fryer and slow cookers can be a game changer, okay? So you have enough to just throw things into the air fryer, and it only takes 10 minutes to do. And, you know, there's so much content out there now of how the air fryer can be used in different ways. Slow cookers, getting your stuff on before you get out the door of the day, and then come home and dinner's cooked. Like, there's also a lot to be said for that. I don't tend to use a slow cooker because I tend to work from home, and I would literally be smelling it all day long. I'd be like, oh God, is it dinner time yet? So look, it depends. It depends on the routine, depends on the person. Potatoes. Okay, I just want to talk about potatoes for a second. They are so underrated for how much you get for such low calories. And so, like, you know, when we're trying to, like, you're doing a bolognese, you're doing a curry, whatever, you're measuring out your pasta and your rice, and you're like, oh, is that all I get? Like, you know, and then you're like, oh, I better spend some more calories on it so I get some more. Whereas with potatoes, you will be surprised the amount of potatoes you'll get for quite low calories. And then just put them, like, so when I say potatoes, you could, like, there's so many ways. If you like mashed potatoes, have them mashed. If you just like them normal with a bit of gravy, have them with gravy. But you can chop them up. You can make chips, throw them into the air fryer or the oven for oven chips, or little roasted potato cubes, or like, there's so many different ways to do them, and you'll get quite a lot for those calories. Slow cooker dump bags. Okay. Now, this wasn't actually an idea of mine. I think it was a client that actually brought this idea to the WhatsApp group before, and I thought it was so clever. Chop your ingredients for the slow cooker meals. Now, this could be something that people consume all the time on social media. I don't know. It doesn't come up on my feed anyway, but I thought this was brilliant. Chop all your ingredients for the slow cooker meals into Ziploc bags into your freezer. Then just label them and take out what you need the night before, and then throw it into the slow cooker that morning. So you don't have to, like, start chopping freaking turnip and onions first thing in the morning before you go out the door just to get it into the slow cooker. You're like, you could have like beef stew, and you have all the ingredients there chopped, ready to go, ready to be thrown into the slow cooker. Just take it out of the freezer the night before, and then like throw it in that morning, and it's done. Like, you'd have them all labeled in Ziploc bags. Like, genius. So I think my main point here, and I was a little bit of rambling, I think I've thrown a few meal ideas your way, nothing that's groundbreaking or anything. I think what is really important here when it comes to meal prep is that meal planning is essential. So being organized, if you have a goal, or, you know, whether it is just health, just being healthier, whether it is fitness, whether it is weight loss, whether it's a mix of all of them, whether you're trying to gain weight, it doesn't matter. Like, when you're giving your nutrition that little bit of focus, you do need to be organized, and you do need to plan ahead. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be rigid and stick to super strict rules, but always be ahead of yourself, and you can adjust as necessary as you go. Know what you're going to have for breakfast, lunch, dinner, the snacks the next day. Know where you're going and what's happening, and are you going to be eating out? You know, all of these things are really important. It doesn't mean you're not allowing yourself to do anything. You just kind of know ahead of time what's going to happen. It doesn't mean you can't be spontaneous. Of course you can, and you'll adjust as necessary. And sometimes the spontaneity that comes up will be worth being a little bit off track, and that's also okay. But this business, I kind of run around like a headless chicken day in, day out, week in, week out. And I know some of you are listening and be like, Kate, you're looking at me, you're talking to me. Like we all have times like this. You have to get to grips with this. So it's the day in, day out, week in, week out routine, not the special occasions that I'm talking about. Like what I do, and I know I've spoken about this before, but I'll speak about it again because I just think it's so important, finding your own version of this. I get up on a Saturday morning before everyone else in my house, just because I tend to wake before them. And I go downstairs, make myself my lovely little coffee. I have a look in the presses. I get my little meal planner out and I plan what dinners we're going to have for the week ahead. Then turn on my laptop, go to Tesco online, do my weekly grocery shop in the peace and quiet, sipping on my coffee. Then I order all the ingredients that are needed for those meals and then all the bits that are needed for breakfast and lunch and, for the kids and all of that. And I have my weekly shopping done before we get up and out and doing anything on a Saturday morning. And it just sets you up. And then it gets delivered Saturday evening or else Sunday morning. And then we have everything we need for the week ahead. And that's my definition of meal prep that works in my house. Now, some people can't plan a whole week ahead. I hate having to go to the grocery shop midweek. I'm like, it annoys me. I'm like, I like to just have all the things I need there. And it's one less thing to worry about. Some people prefer to do it kind of day by day or like every couple of days. But if you do it day by day, that's fine. But at least be a day ahead of yourself. If you do like to pop into the shop each time, that's totally fine. You want to buy the freshest ingredients. I totally get that. Just be a day ahead of yourself. Be organized. Give yourself the daily time to plan that then. So always plan your meals in advance and always, 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 if you're tracking your calories, track your calories for the day ahead, the night before. Make that a habit. Like that is like the most important form of meal prep that you'll ever do. So there's no point in like spending hours cooking all these meals and putting them all into Tupperware and, being super organized and then everything keeps going to shit because you can't catch yourself and you're not organized and there's no structure to your week or your day. And you're like, fuck, I'm over my calories again. What happened? Another day of saying fuck it. Whereas it's, if you take away the decision, like you take away the decision fatigue and you're like, this is what we're having for dinner today. And don't get me wrong, on my little planner, if we decide we're supposed to have bolognese one day and curry another day and I want to chop and change it, I will. Like, it's just I just mean these are our 7 meals we're having for the next week. And I'll move it around as necessary, and I find that works well. So I think with meal prep, it's about finding what works for you. And if cooking meals ahead really does work for you and you enjoy to do it, do it. If you like to have leftover dinner for lunch, have leftover dinner for lunch. If you like to have a sandwich for lunch, have a sandwich. Get more protein in it, eat more vegetables on the side with it, and just keep it simple. You don't want it to be another chore. You want it to be something that's going to work for you. And think about it, it's what you can do consistently that's going to pay off. So I think I'm going to leave it at that. I hope that episode was not too rambly and that it made sense. And baby Noah was really good through this episode. So I don't even know if you could hear him at all. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. And I will talk to you all on the next one. I just want to say thank you so much for listening to the podcast. And I would just ask for one thing from you. If at all possible, could you make sure that you subscribe to the podcast? It really does make such a difference. If there's a particular episode that you've enjoyed, please do share it in your WhatsApp groups, share it on your stories, tag myself and the guest in your stories. All of these things really do help to grow the podcast. And obviously, if there's anything you'd like to reflect on, please do leave a comment. It would mean the world to me, and I will see you on the next one.